What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is May 8th, 2025. Happy birthday, Chris, one of my younger brothers. Yeah, today was kind of a great day. I had a little bit of a call bias today, which kept me out of playing the put scenario, unfortunately, because that ended up turning into a very nice trade to the downside, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the takeaway from today's video needs to be, if you plan or have a plan and you wait for that criteria that you created to make the plan in the first place, if you wait for that to materialize and you execute based on all of that, you could be rewarded greatly. Now, we had an epic day in the community today. A lot of people made a lot of money because they were patient. And they had a plan, and they executed their plan. So what was that, you might say? Well, first of all, they all bought the book, because the book is where it all starts. And then they joined our Discord community, which you should do too, because there's links down below. Your first week is completely free, and you should also subscribe to my channel. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and talk about what we were looking for and what we saw. So my issue with this morning playing the call or the put scenario was, first of all, the market gapped up overnight. It was very happy. So I wanted to play calls. I feel like the market's just pent up energy, waiting for the right news, the right information to just go create all-time highs again. But if we're moving into the market or into the open, moving sideways, I don't like to be aggressive on my entries. Now today, that lack of aggression kept me out of a beautiful trade to the downside. But it's better for me personally to stick to my rules, stick to what I feel comfortable doing, because in the end, it ends up paying me better to do so. With that said, we had a put line at 488.40. Now, admittedly, we were only looking for a 40-cent move to the downside. We wanted to get through support down to the next support. ADD opened the gate, printing a doji-ish kind of candle, but the very next candle, Qs and SPY near a resistance here, ADD started printing red. We got that 40-cent move, and furthermore, we continued down to the next support, kept putting in lower highs, failing to move up, down a little bit more, and down ultimately even more. Now, each time I put an exit here because we were on support on both charts. We were expecting a 10 o'clock event. I believed that because that event was likely to be positive, that the market was going to try and move up. Here is where my lack of patience kind of got the best of me. Now, I was abundantly clear on the idea that I wanted to play calls today. I believe the market is happy. It just wants to hear a little bit of good news to make it even more happier. So when we were down here on support, I told everybody, guys, this is completely risky. And we were anticipating Trump making an announcement today that was likely to move the market up, or at least I thought so. So I was willing to buy my calls down here while both charts were on support. I kind of ignored ADD, the fact that it was trending down. I kind of ignored this chart. I said my stop loss is if we close back below this dotted line, I'm hoping that we run up, make a new high of day. Unfortunately, whether you consider it unfortunate or not, I took the calls down here. So did several other people. Now, originally, we wanted to get at least from here up to this resistance, okay, knowing that if we did, we'd make something. And if Trump would have gotten on the microphone or in front of the cameras at that time, maybe this result would have been better. But he was late. And as a result, this trade kind of didn't materialize the way I thought it would, assuming schedules were going to be kept. With that said, this right here was only 11.5% win, but I took it at a time that seemed very risky, so I wasn't going to hang out in it forever. Now, I did have some people holding hope onto calls that they bought here, and by the end of the day, or by the time we got off the microphone, they ended up growing their accounts, some people over 40% on the account. Now, I don't condone holding and hoping, but we've all done it, so I can't knock you. I do want you to recognize, though, that you got very lucky. There was no skill involved with holding and getting lucky. There's no skill involved in that. If you treat yourself or you pretend like it was skill involved in that, you're going to tend to believe that you've created this fallacy that you know what you're doing and that it's skill that helps you make that money and not luck. This one was luck, okay? So please don't fool yourselves. That was my one and only trade of the day. Now, we weren't looking for any trades because 10 o'clock, Trump was supposed to talk. We didn't know when he was going to come on. But after he started to speak, he was speaking sometime over here because he got on late. I think 30 minutes, 40 minutes late. Still looking for a move up, right? This whole time we were talking, we were watching. I was sharing the stream live with our community members. And once we bottomed out here, he was talking about, the deals that the deal he made or was announcing, and then the market started to seemingly put in a bottom. Now, did we know that was going to be the bottom at that time? Of course we didn't. But then the ADD started to move up. I had somebody wanting to play puts, and I said, watch out for the higher lows. Higher lows usually mean we're going to break resistance. If you're not worried about Trump or him saying something, or it's just like Jerome Powell being on a microphone. They could say one wrong word, one wrong sentence, and undo everything. But again, me, personally, I believed this was going to be good news. I believed we were going to make new highs of day. And if you're in my room, you knew this because I was talking about it way before it happened. You just needed to wait for the right setup, guys. You just needed a plan. Higher lows are bad for puts. So we were no longer looking for puts. And if you were in puts because of this lower high, we made it pretty much back down to support. Not all the way, but we did create a higher low on both Qs and SPY chart. Okay, we moved up. We're expecting to break resistance. If we break that resistance, ADD's printing green. Where are we expecting the next resistance to be? Well, just look left. It's right here. So that is the move that you were looking for if you got in because of the higher low. ADD's printing green, and that's where we wanted to go. On our way up there, we put in yet another higher low. So for the people who weren't into a trade yet, the news was being accepted as good, as we hoped, anticipated. And ADD kept telling us a very clear story that the market was willing to continue up. So the people who got in down here, and we had quite a few, held on, rightfully so. And each one of these circles here was just us hitting resistances on the Qs chart, or when SPY and Qs were hitting resistance at the same time. I stopped putting circles on here, but every time we hit resistance on the chart at the same time on both charts, it's something that I always tell people: tighten up your stop losses, know where you're going to get out if this ends up being the end of the move, whatever the case is. That right there was a massive, massive win. We had people get into the higher low here. We had people get into the higher low here. The rules all stay the same, guys. If ADD is moving in your favor and we're putting in higher lows on the Qs or SPY, it's more likely to break up through resistance than it is not to, okay? So with that in mind, this ended up being a multi-100% move from the bottom. I was not in it because I lacked the patience to wait for this. This was my plan. I just wanted it to take place at 10 o'clock because he was late. I took my trade anyways. I try to trade less per day, not more per day. It produced an 11.5% win for me, which pales in comparison to this one, which would have been a much, much, much higher winning day for me. But that's all right. I'm not upset. Why? Because I made my money. I'm paying my bills. Everything is good, but more importantly, the people in our community, many of them got to make really good money today, and I love that more so than making money for myself. With that said, the point is, guys, plan what you're going to do. If the plan or the criteria that you use to create the plan does not happen, you do nothing. Do not trade something other than what you plan to trade. If you haven't watched my video on why trade plans are so important, check it out. It was our last YouTube live stream that we did this past Saturday. It's a really good watch, and there's a lot of information in there that you might not know or you may have chosen to forget. Very important to always have a trade plan and follow it. Also, if you'd like to join our Discord community, please do. It's free for the first week. You don't have to put in any credit card information. You just got to join the server. Your trial will start the minute you jump in, if it's your first time there. Okay. Also, consider buying the book. Lots of really good information in there. Made a couple of edits to it today, as a matter of fact. Some typos. Fixed those, and that should be still available for you if you're interested in that. And That's pretty much it. If you got any useful information out of this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you like, join our Discord community. Well, I already told you how to do that. And I hope you all had a fantastic day in the markets. Till tomorrow. I love you guys.